Hello everyone, I'm Sweet Valberry and welcome to my ComfyUI course series, launched in collaboration with Olares. In earlier lessons, we covered the full image and video generation workflow. You can now build and use a variety of practical workflows, but when a new model is just released, how do you pick it up quickly and start using it? In today's video, I'll start from the ComfyUI news that Qwen Image Edit 2509 is supported. Then I'll walk you through the whole hands-on process. We'll cover downloading the model, loading a template workflow, fine-tuning ideas, and applying the model in practice. The goal is to go from news to practice. The most direct and stable source for this kind of news is the ComfyUI official blog. A post there usually means the model is natively supported by ComfyUI. The blog lists posts in chronological order by default. Click the top filter to see the most popular posts. Right now, the hottest post is the WAN 2.1 video generation model from February 2025. It's popular, but we already covered its different uses in earlier lessons. The second most viewed post discusses WAN Animate and Qwen Image Edit 2509. We'll use Qwen Image Edit 2509 as our example and see how to apply a new model in ComfyUI. By the way, click the subscribe button at the top right and enter your email. That way ComfyUI can push news to you by email and you'll get updates faster. Back on the news page, open the Qwen Image Edit 2509 article. Skip the WAN Animate part and scroll down to the Qwen section. The article gives a brief intro and then highlights the model's strengths. It emphasizes composable multi-image editing, improved consistency, more advanced text editing, and support for multiple ControlNet modalities such as depth, edges, and keyquotes. You'll also find the workflow download button here. Scroll further for some example outputs. The first example starts with a photo of a cat in a living room and asks the model to replace the cat with a spotted dog. The result keeps the pose and leaves the background largely intact. This is a typical image editing use case. The second example supplies a model photo and an outfit reference. The prompt asks the person in image 1 to wear image 2's outfit, put on glasses, hold a bag, and change shoes. I have to complain a little. Image 1 doesn't show the feet, so swapping shoes feels odd. Image 2 has 2 pairs of glasses, so which one should it pick? The result is mixed. The shirt style is right, but the material doesn't quite match. The third example changes an astronaut to a specified pose and swaps the background. That looks successful. The final example provides 3 images, a person, a dog, and a sofa, and instructs the model to place the person lying on the sofa and the dog on the floor. The composite shows good consistency and blending. This kind of multi-image composition is very practical. From the highlights and examples, you can already get a good idea of the model's capabilities. If you're interested, let's try it. ComfyUI's recommendation is to upgrade to at least version 0.3.60, then download the workflow from the article or the workflow template library. Follow the workflow pop-up prompts to download the required models. Let's follow those steps. Scroll up to the workflow button and click it to download the JSON file locally. Open ComfyUI and check your version in settings. The article requires 0.3.60. I'm on 0.4.0, so I'm fine. If your version is older, click Manager to upgrade. The manager will install the latest stable release by default. After upgrading, ComfyUI will restart and refresh the page. If you prefer cutting-edge builds, switch the manager to nightly instead of stable to get the absolute newest version. However, in the Olares environment, the ComfyUI application we use has been carefully polished and tested. The core version, plugins, and workflows are all properly matched. It's best not to manually upgrade ComfyUI core here. A more reliable approach is to update directly to the new version through the market. Back in ComfyUI, drag the JSON workflow into the interface. A pop-up appears showing that some models are missing. Wait a moment and it will list each required model and its size. This workflow needs 4 models. The VAE and LoRa are only a few hundred megabytes each. The text encoder and main model are much larger. Even though the workflow default uses FP8 quantized versions, their sizes are still about 8.74 GB and 19.03 GB respectively. A quick rule of thumb: thanks to ComfyUI's tiled loading mechanism, the total size of models that can run is often around twice your GPU VRAM. That means these FP8 models can often run on machines with 16 GB and sometimes even on 12 GB of VRAM. Clicking the download button starts the browser download, or use copy URL and paste the link into a download tool for better speed. In the Olares system, The ComfyUI launcher has excellent model management. It not only offers a rich model library with one-click downloads, but also lets you paste a URL to download directly into your target folder. Super convenient. If your GPU has less than 12 GB of VRAM, or you want smoother runtime, pick a more heavily quantized model. How do you find one? If you know the model publisher, check their official site. Q1 Image is published by Alibaba's Tongyi Tianwen team, and their site will have information, but the most reliable method is to search for the model name. Generally, pay attention to 3 places: Hugging Face, Model Scope, and the project's GitHub repo. These sources usually host authentic releases. If you're unsure, check the author's verification on the repo. Each repository has a navigation bar where you can find files, docs, and related resources. On Hugging Face, the Files tab shows the model, the text encoder, the VAE, and other files in separate folders. Official originals are usually large and sometimes sharded. You can also check Comfy.org's Hugging Face repo for versions prepared for ComfyUI. Besides the official BF16 model, Comfy.org often provides 2 different FP8 quant versions. The workflow pop-ups download links often point to these Comfy.org assets. Back on the official repo homepage, look on the right for 3 derivative model types. Adapters mainly contains lower files. Fine-tunes includes large models trained from this base. Quantizations lists lower requirement, quantized variants. Click Quantizations. The top entries often come from QuantStack and Nunchaku Tech. They are reputable quantization teams and provide GGUF and Nunchaku format models respectively. Note that these formats require the corresponding plugins in ComfyUI. Open QuantStack's GGUF page. The file list shows different quant levels from Q2K up to Q820. Choose based on size and your VRAM. Quantized models follow the same directory structure as the official model, so refer to the workflow pop-up or docs for the exact path. Previously I mentioned that if you download models through the model management feature in the Olares ComfyUI launcher, they go directly to the target folder. If you download to your local machine instead, you will need to upload them via the file system. Close the pop-up and let's analyze the workflow using what we learned in earlier lessons. Ignore the 2 disabled nodes for now. The workflow is very clean. There's a single output node that saves the image. Tracing backward, the core node is image edit Q1 2000 save viewers 5/9. That node is a subgraph. It receives images and prompts from 2 input nodes. There's a note on the left that lists the model download URLs and the expected storage paths. It matches the pop-up information. Most modern workflows include notes like this, and some even include links to video tutorials. Check those when you see them. Expand the subgraph. Inside you'll find a flow similar to image generation. Read it from the inputs forward. The node supports up to 3 input images. The first image is the main image. The node will resize it to the model's preferred resolution, and VAE encode it into latent space. That latent is passed to the sampler. The node also uses the second and third images to help generate the final prompt. Even if you downloaded models via the pop-up, manually select the models in the model load nodes. This avoids path mismatches that can cause errors. The sampling node settings are simple. Because we loaded an acceleration lower, set the steps to 4. Use the most common sampler and scheduler, Euler, Pull Simple. You can leave these parameters at their defaults, since ComfyUI doesn't expose them outside the subgraph for us to change. When sampling finishes, the node produces a single image. That image is returned to the main workflow as the subgraph's only output. For future use, press Ctrl+Os to save the workflow. Then you can load it later from the workflow manager. Back in the main workflow, upload a portrait image. Put replace the person with a cat in the prompt, then click the Run button. The replacement succeeds. The generated cat shows clear facial detail, like the eyes and fur texture. The overall color tone and composition stay consistent, and the bokeh and background continue naturally. In short, we use ComfyUI's example workflow with a Q1 Image Edit 2509 model to perform image editing. You may remember the news said this model can combine up to 3 images. How do we do that in this workflow? As I read earlier, the subgraph node accepts 3 image inputs, and all of them participate in prompt generation. So let's make a small change. Duplicate one of the image load nodes. Remember the demo in the article had a person lying on a sofa. Upload an image of a chair as the second image, and copy the example prompt so the girl from image 1 sits on the chair in image 2. The result looks pretty good. The model preserves the girl's facial features, her signature yellow hair, the yellow turtleneck, and the daisy in her hand. It even hallucinates a plausible lower body, giving a natural seated pose. The lighting also matches the light direction in the chair image. At this stage, you can run the new model with a basic ComfyUI workflow.
Woo!
To go further, read more resources, visit forums, and search tutorials, but don't forget the official documentation. For QWEN Image Edit 2509, we already found its model repository when searching for quantized models. I won't show that here. Hugging Face and ModelScope each provide English and Chinese documentation. The top of the page gives the model introduction, similar to the ComfyUI announcement, followed by example code. The part we should focus on is the application demos lower on the page. They show many real use cases like multi-image wedding portraits, placing people from multiple images, and multi-image product model shots. Each demo includes concrete prompts you can try in your ComfyUI workflow to reproduce the results. By the way, official examples may be cherry-picked, but the fact they publish them suggests confidence in the model's success rate. If you run into issues, file an issue with the appropriate project. First, determine whether the problem is with the model itself or with ComfyUI's integration. If it's a model issue, such as how to fine-tune or whether it supports distributed deployment, open an issue on the model's Hugging Face, ModelScope, or GitHub repository. If the problem is an error during ComfyUI usage or the outputs don't match expectations, open an issue on the ComfyUI GitHub. Besides the official team, many helpful community members, including myself, often answer questions and assist. That's all for this video. Today we walked through getting a new model working in ComfyUI and built a general approach you can reuse. Next time you see news that ComfyUI supports a new model, you should be able to run it on your machine smoothly. That's it for this lesson. See you next time.